Okay, so I'm going to talk about double number lines and using them to solve ratio equations. So let's just say you walked into a grocery store and you saw a sign that said it was $10 per 4 pounds of apples. And you say, well, that sounds like a good price, but I don't want to buy 4 pounds of apples. I only need 2.5 pounds of apples, or I only need 6 pounds of apples. How do I figure out how much it's going to cost for that? So let's look at this just really quick before we get started. Per is a great word. So I want you to think about what the word per means. Hopefully you remember that per always means division. So when you see per, you're going to divide. Reading from left to right, the first number you come across is this 10. So $10. So this is not going to matter much to you now, but in the future it will. So remember, watch this. This is going to be your Y term. So when you graph, all of those numbers, all the dollars are going to be on this vertical axis, on your Y axis. And then the second part of your equation, reading from left to right, this 4 pounds of apples. I bet you can guess what that's going to be. That's going to be your X term. And that's going to be represented down here. So this is what's called your independent. This is your independent variable. And the one over here is your dependent variable. So basically, this price is going to depend on how many pounds you buy. So you can also write this equation, hopefully you remember, as Y divided by X. So that's your ratio form. Okay, all of that out of the way, double number line. So I'm going to draw my Y on top, because it is on top. And this is going to represent all my money. And then I'm going to draw my X on the bottom, because it is on the bottom. And that's going to represent my pounds of apples. And I actually know 4 numbers, even though I'm only given 2. So I know we could have 0 pounds of apples, and I know we could have 4 pounds of apples. I'll write pounds, just so remember that these are the pounds. It's always good to write your terms, your units. And then up here, we know if we buy 0 pounds of apples, it's going to cost us $0. In fact, you know what? I'm going to do this up above because it works better. So it's going to cost us $0. And if we buy 4 pounds of apples, it's going to cost us $10. So these are lined up for a reason. So these are basically the same thing. 4 pounds, $10. 0 pounds, $0. So if we look at this area right here, this represents 4 pounds, and we can divide it equally. So if we divide it in half, we'd have 2 pounds on this side and 2 pounds on this side. So this represents 2 pounds. And if we divide this in half, so this is 1 pound. This is the second pound, 2 pounds. Then we have a third pound of the same size, and then a fourth pound of the same size. So we know we divided that bottom part into 4 parts, so we can also divide the top into 4 equivalent parts. But now we have to divide $10 into 4 equal parts, and we can do that with division. We know it's not going to be equal, so I'm going to write $10 like this. And if I divide it by 4, 4 goes into 10 twice, which gives us 8. We subtract and get 2 and bring down the 0. 4 goes into 25, which is 20. So it's $2.50 for every pound. So this is $2.50. We add that first $2.50. So there's that first $2.50. We add a second $2.50, and it gets us to $5. And that makes sense, right? Because half of 10 is $5, and remember, half of 4 is 2, so it's halfway. So then we have another $2.50. That gives us to $7.50. And then the final $2.50 gets us to, oops, I didn't mean to do that. Oh, really quick. Anyway, I didn't mean to do a race, and there's nothing to rewind, so that's okay. It'll work. Okay. So there's the 250 and there's the 250. All right, so what's really cool about this is you can just copy this, calculator right there, and we can create a whole new section. So I can bring this whole new section right here. It's exactly the same, and it just keeps going on. So 4 is there. This is one more, 5 pounds, 6 pounds, 7 pounds, 8 pounds. And since this is $10, all of these are going to be the same, just with the, we already did the $10, so we're just going to add $10 to each. So instead of $2.50, this is going to be $12.50. Instead of $5, this is going to be $15. Instead of $7.50, this is going to be $17.50. And instead of 10, this is going to be 20. But whatever it was, you would just keep on adding that 250. So add 250, 12.50. Add 250, $15. Add 250, $17.50. Add 215, $20. So you say, hey, you know what? I actually wanted to buy 6 pounds. Okay, so that'll be $15. But what if you say, oh, you know, actually I wanted to buy 2.5 pounds? You can pause the video if you want to think about how you're going to figure that out, 2.5 pounds. But it's going to be right in between 2 and 3, so it's going to be right in between 5 and $7.50. So if you have $5 and $7.50, the difference is $2.50. If you split that difference in half, you get $1.25, so it's going to be $6.25. You add $1.25, and then you add $1.25, and you get there. So you would know that 2.5 pounds would be $6.25.